Right, let's go. Started by looking at this oil. Just interested to see what oil can do here because it's obviously a major trend line resistance. So it got a strong move off of this C wave. If we do penetrate this 103, I think I think we're going to get to 105, 110 area. Question is, do we need a pullback first, or are we going to move on from here? I would hope we can get a pullback to that level of support, which would put it at about 97.40. Otherwise, if we don't get that pullback, this might just keep going. Right, let's look at the NASDAQ. Tricky week, but we're coming off this support on the NASDAQ. So if this area holds, and this is the late January lows, breakup area from middle of March, if this holds, then we might be able to grind our way up to potentially 16,000. If we can hold and continue. Did see a lot of volume yesterday. I think a lot of that must be in the back end of the day because there wasn't a lot of volume during the day. Yeah, I think a lot of traders bought that at the end of the day. Same for the Dow. So look at the DAX. DAX is not doing it. It's underneath this structure, underneath the resistance. Volume's poor. So unless we turn around in the next day or so, that is looking lower. FTSE, similar story. We had a couple of bad days back in this apex. So we need to start closing above 7,600 soon, or we are lower. Gold has had a good week, hence the miners are doing all right. This is a lovely bottoming pattern here. So at the moment, based on the increase in volume, we look as if we could come and test 2,000 and possibly break through 2,000 now. If that continues. The US had the highest hike in inflation on record this week. Well, the results came through as that this week. Okay, so silver. I said I was looking for this to happen in silver. We're up at resistance, but I think we got the capability to break through now. Look at the way the volume has been creeping up ever since February. The volume has been underpinning this. Right, let's stay on the theme of commodities because the gas is still going. So we look as if 73, maybe 75 could be on course. Very rare for this to creep up this time of year, but it's not a usual year, is it? Orange juice keeps going. That's broken up through that major resistance. We're up very close to 18 bucks now. Wheat continues up, and the beans must be sitting up as well. Yeah. All right. I don't know where everybody is. We've had attendance seems to be really dropping off at the moment, so I will keep that under review. Right. Seeing as we've talked about miners, let's look at miners. So Pan African, as you said earlier, is sitting up. We look as if we could have a 25 now. in line with the way the metals are behaving. Griffin is dithering. It's had a mighty run, so it's just resting. Centamin is picked up, so most of the miners, Hochschild picked up. So most of these miners are doing well, including CDE. Yeah, it could be Holloway. Yeah, nice move off CDE, the silver miner. So all of these stocks are still potentially going to give you entries if you wait for pullbacks, if you wait for dips into today's range. Energy, Talo continues to do well. Well, actually, it's hesitant, isn't it? It's getting close to 63. Looks all right. Petrofac, the oil and gas services provider, is climbing on volume. So we look as if we could see 130, 133 soon. Golf, a little dip here in Golf is good. So this might accelerate now. This might accelerate back to 260 and beyond, because if we can hold this high, then that could give it a sprint. Any other energy stocks you want me to look at this stage? Otherwise, I'll move on. Gem Diamonds is really going for it. Elementis, they've had this pullback to 118. Volumes are not great, but I still think that will continue up. TP ICAP is showing as if it needs a deeper pullback. So I'm not in this. I'm just waiting for that to pull right back. Man Group is pulling back after a big run as well. Glencore, so these are all good. Italia, right, let's have a look at that. That is ATYM. I don't think it's going to give it to me. Okay, let's write it in. I just saw it there and it went. It would help if I spelled it right, wouldn't it? There it is. What's going on with this one? This is really jumpy. Really jumpy. Is there news on this? I generally don't like charts that start flipping around, and this one is flipping around. I just don't trust charts that do this. It's a gapper. It gaps all over the place. Not for me. I mean, it does look as if it's going to continue higher, but in the meantime, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that dip into 370. Yeah, 88E. Let's go back to that. I just think people bailed out of it. I just think it's a pump and dump. They pumped it up to this 2.8, 2.9, and they just dumped it. It's threatening to do the same again, but just be very careful. Let's have a look at Barclays. The volume is building. So I think the Barclays can do this. The volume's building, the price is holding up. We just need to get above 150, and then I think we might do something. Lloyd's is probably similar. I think this is direct line, isn't it? Yeah. This is looking like it wants to come lower, but overall has got strength. They closed a while, right? Okay. IT stocks are still in the doldrums. So the sectors that are doing well is energy, basic materials, healthcare, retail. Let's have a look at Royal Mail Group. That's got volume down there. So I would suggest that that is worth dipping into now at 320, 325 with a stop underneath that support, because that does look as if that is building. Let's have a look. Last year, yeah, last year we dipped at this point and ran up in June. I think that's got potential. I'll go back to PAF in a minute. I think PAF's got the potential to do a bit more 25. We'll go through that in a minute. W.H. Smith's. It's got a pin bar on this. That's a very, very tidy chart. Volumes have been improving on this W.H. Smith's. So if this is a bull flag and that dip has just broken support and popped back in, that is potentially a very bullish sign. Card Factory, attempting to hold up. I would definitely still short any highs on that. I'm looking for this to get crushed at some stage. How it's still surviving, I do not know, because I think it's such an awful store. Right, so if it bumps into that trend line, I'm going to short. And that would put it at about 50, just above the 51. Because I'm looking for that to bump into that trend line and then finally go. I think this has been winding down ever since. Good harmonic patterns, if anybody's into harmonic patterns. Yeah, let's look at, let's go back to PAF and then I'll put those retailers on. And all the time PAF's got higher volume. 25 is definitely going to struggle at 25. I mean, what I would call the easy money is 25, right up to January 2021 highs. I suspect it would then pull back. So I think, let me just redo this because this chart is holding up. So as long as we continue to close higher, 20, I think what we might do is I think this is an A, B, C wave will take us into 25. In theory, this is, of course. And then we might wriggle around. And ultimately, if you're really bullish on this, you might go up, find it back up to 30, 32. As long as the volume holds up, I wouldn't get out. we do need to see an increase in volume to sustain that. But yeah, 25 is the obvious exit, and then I think we might rest and pull back, because let's face it, it's come from 14p up there, so that's quite a move. Bear with me one moment. Right, let's look at Tesco. Sainsbury's. Tesco had good results and took a dive. Yeah, so we've broken this structure. Let's look at the 2021 range. Wow. We have a massive hole. I've forgotten Tesco done this. We have a massive hole in Tesco. Down there at 188. We come down on volume. I think what might happen is we might bounce back to that resistance. But if we stay under here, then we're going to wind down to some of these lower levels. I mean, you might well find this going back to £293 at some stage. I mean, here's the bullish scenario. We clamber back and then go and find that's the bullish scenario. The bearish scenario is that we climb back to this resistance area here and then start a decline. And ultimately may even go and find that, complete that gap. But we're coming, the bottom line is we're coming down on volume. So this might be all completely irrelevant if we can't get through that trend line. Let's take all this off. If I was going to buy this, I want it to come down to 240, 247, and then put a buy signal in on volume if I was going to buy it. Otherwise, I would leave it. Let's look at the next. I'll look at Sainsbury's. Next continues to try and recover on volume. Sainsbury, I would have thought it'll behave fairly similar to, yeah, to Tesco. It's just not doing it. So the retail is getting hit. I can see that at least coming down to 227. And if it can't hold 227, it's lower. If I'm wrong, we'll start to close above 250 if I'm wrong. But at the moment, I would not be a buyer of Sainsbury's. Right. Let's have a quick look at some healthcares. Otherwise, I'm done. Let's do a general walk through the markets. IAG picking up. So it looks as if we could see 150 and possibly 160. 160 is going to be a problem for it. Persimmon looks lower. I do like Uber. Bear with me 1 second. Just make some notes. I do like this Uber. I think that Uber's got legs. Pfizer. Pullback. I still think that's got legs as well. Facebook. It shows you the state of the market. Facebook still cannot get going. Microsoft. Now, Microsoft, that's a potential buy signal down there, if that holds. Amazon, that's a buy signal, if that, and the volumes are coming in on that. Boo. Rubbish. Right, I'm off. Unless you've got anything else you want me to look at, I'm off. SSE, Seeing Machines is holding up. Decent volume coming to that. Rolls-Royce, yeah. Yeah, so you can see this. So we've done a 1-2 push up into 111 fibs resistance, back down to the breakup area of March. It's got a little pin bar there, but the volumes do not look healthy at the moment. It's decent support, but that does not say it can't go lower at the moment. Got to start to see some higher closes and higher volume ASAP to save that one. It is a huge area. We were down here in July last year before we did a nice move to 150. So it's a huge support. Let's hope we see some volume. All right, thanks very much, guys. See you. I will still do the Monday night, even though it's a bank holiday Monday. I'll do the Monday in prep for the coming week. So see you next Monday. Have a good long weekend and have fun, and I'll see you then.